Will I get gatekept if I said that I didn't watch Formula One until I started watching Drive to Survive? Like, will the masses come out and shun me that I wasn't there when Niki Lauda punched Chris Hemsworth in the face? I feel like I have my history kind of sort of messed up with that story, but I really don't care, all right? Here's why. Because Drive to Survive is probably the reason I now plan on spending an overt amount of savings funds that I shouldn't, to go to hopefully watch them race up and down a street that I puked down when I turned 21. I'm Alex.Martini with 2 underscores, and while we all made mistakes in Vegas, a couple, 2, 3, I want to take a little bit further past the butter as to why I think Formula One probably cracked the code and why every other motorsport is on a death spiral unless they figure out the stuff that Formula One did, which is really shocking, considering that was the last one I expected to figure it out. Now, genuinely, before anything else, thank you for the support and subscribing over the past few months. Like, it means a lot. It makes my knees quiver and my eyebrows shudder. And we've got a dad hat for those depressing family functions, or if you want to feel like a proper daddy figure for your significant other, which might be a little bit weird, but deep down inside, sometimes people like getting called that. And if not, at least let me know below if you enjoy Drive to Survive, or if it's just glorified keeping up with the Kardashians, as I'm still responding to every single comment, and that is how the cookie crumbles. Get out of here. It's 9 o'clock and it's raining outside and there's bugs in here. Get out of here. Now, there's no doubt that the production of Drive to Survive made by James Gay Reese is pretty damn good. Now, good is subjective to a lot of people, and sometimes people complain about this, but the editing and camera work and overall production is objectively good, all right? There's always been something intoxicating about proper documentaries that have drama, like real fundamental drama. This is not as real as you think, but real-ish, all right? I think that's why we enjoy watching documentaries about murders, especially those really fancy ones. And to be fair, it is also kind of f***ed up when you think about the fact that people sit down and they watch shows about murders to make money, because people died. Now, Formula One is successful prior to Drive to Survive. It had over 400 million viewers in its previous season, but its inherent issue was its lack of adoption in the gold bald eagle country, the United States of America, all right? The odd viewing times, the high barrier of entry for understanding, and lack of available streaming services didn't help it all too well get adopted over here. And on top of that, it was not really meant for us. But when they started launching the Drive to Survive series, ESPN coverage on Formula One races nearly doubled in viewership. That's since the show premiered. And not just that, with Formula One on track to now break 1 billion fans worldwide in 2022, with 77% of those viewers being under 35 years old. Thank God. It does have you asking, I feel like Netflix should get a little credit, all right? Fernando Alonso, my favorite Spanish-speaking boy that looks like he could be the bad guy at the end of a Disney movie, I wouldn't even care, said there's a younger generation following Formula One, so I'm pleased to see what they think about the sport. And the fan base, I don't know why I'm talking with that accent. He's Spaniard, I think, is a bit different than before. And in the last 2 to 3 years with the Netflix series, etc., etc. So it's there and it's doing well. But not all sports have been able to really do this or even replicate it, especially in the motorsport world. So take NASCAR, for instance, you know, the Busch Latte drinking. In 2015, Fox saw 13.36 million viewers, and in 2021, 4.8 million on that same race. 2020 saw it postponed due to rain, but even then it was only 7.3 million for the Daytona 500. And while NASCAR is seeing some flatlining in viewership, you kind of have to ask why you'd even watch it as a younger, like, car person, not even enthusiast, somebody who likes cars. NASCAR in person is a crazy, intoxicating experience, okay? But through media, you're probably one of the weird ones that just kind of waits for a crash or a spin out to cause some noise. I'm just saying it. It's not what we want. We want everybody to be safe, okay? But those things do spike viewership, and it does make it a little bit more fun. Formula Drift is the baby brother of this entire conversation, and another pretty solid example. Now, stepping away from the generation before it and how it distributes its media, that's what Formula Drift is up to and doing. They're live streaming it, they're putting it on Facebook and YouTube, which means it's about as stable as it could be falling off. But it all depends on if they can crack their own version of this code that's reliant heavily on the relatability of the drivers and not the organization itself. The organization is solid, but people love the drivers in that sport so freaking much because they're relatable, all right? Last year, the previous president and co-founder, he's not with them anymore, but Jim Law, had spoken on their strategy of doing digital media and streaming versus more traditional broadcasting, which they're on CBS Sports Network now. But it was something that was really interesting because they wanted to use streaming so that they could go and use their own data analytics of their streams and therefore resell placements and ad promotions and all that good stuff in a much more efficient way. That's how they were gonna try and make some more money. Now, it's good for business, but it's not inherently easy easy for viewers that may not hit the niche of wanting to watch a live stream performance of race day on Facebook or YouTube. So while Formula Drift is making some serious headway into like progressive media and getting more support from some of the big boys in the block, some of the big money, it does stand a little bit fragile. Like, it's gonna work as long as the teams don't become distant from the fans, or if big money starts to enter the sport to support it and then ultimately turn into something it was never meant to be. And Formula Drift is already having a good enough issue trying to remain relatable as the cars get more and more powerful every single waking, breathing second. Now, I still remember hearing the fans absolutely explode when the mustache-loving Adam LZ took his qualifying run at Formula Drift Atlanta. And it was nuts. Everyone was stoked. Didn't even matter what he did. People were floored, okay? But did FD and did Chelsea DeNofa bring him on because of that following? Did they bring him on because of his passion towards drifting? Is it because he's good? Or are they just trying to utilize LZ's network to support and scale the FD audience with a younger generation? Who knows? I feel like I know. I feel like it's all of them. But Adam LZ's got a 6 stash, and he'll get better each and every season because he's determined, because he kicks ass at all the other events, and it just takes a little bit of time to get used to it on the FD stage. All right? Everybody's doing it. The media and money of Formula One has always made it a pretty successful venture, but it had been dying for a long time, and cracking into the next generation of car enthusiasts and just people who love motorsport that don't own a house in the hills was pretty tough. Relatability can be hard when the standard demographic did a good chunk of change and most of them barely understanding how to make proper YouTube and Facebook videos. And now we're here, successfully, translated into the younger generation because we've got 18-year-olds simping over Charles Leclerc on TikTok. It's not just about TikTok though, or how Formula One snagged the actual deal for Drive to Survive. It's how they taught the audience about the sport while they were doing it. See, they made it easy to understand the concepts of the game, the teams, the competition space, and the fact that these drivers are more paramount than you probably think. There's character development in each and every team that signed on to the series. Now, people might be mad that now there's more fans and probably even more fair weather fans, and even more noise in the sport. But I still think that it's just fine the way that it is with all of that extra noise, because these sports need it, and they need it a ton. And I wish there'd be more adoption of this mentality of getting more media around the sport and the people that support it so that we can get more love, money, and awareness to the local tracks and events around the United States, because they need that awareness, because they're not making a whole lot of money. And if they shut down, the odds of a new one opening up are slim to none. And I really do believe that more awareness, especially anything motorsport related in the United States, is 100% welcome. But what do you think? Hate it or love it? You know, I'm the underdog at the top, and I'm sorry that I had to start that quote in that song. And of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Alex, Alex.Martini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and we will see you later. Peace.